locked away but not forgotten. Every story, every dream, still
We'll get
begotten.
started.
Second chances, hope renewed, rebuilding lives, breaking through from the walls to the world. We rise. No more judgments, no more lies. Rehabilitation, reintegration, a new dawn for every nation's voices of change, breaking the chains, restoring hope, rewriting names. Join the movement, hear the call.
The need of these people in the prison is beyond just material things. The educational aspect of it is there, the economical aspect of it is there, and the spiritual aspect of it is also there. Once, if they are empowered, the correctional services will also have less to deal with, and the society will also have less to deal with because once someone is being empowered, it's like giving him the whole steering of the car to drive.
When you look at the job of a Nigerian Correctional Service officer, it's a job that most people wouldn't want to do, no matter how much you pay them. We take care of people who are rejected in the society. We keep your fears, we keep your threats behind bars. We counsel.
Welcome to Radio Maria 93.5 FM, and coming your way today is Voices of Change with Amatmin Timothy, your radio Anthony. Voices of Change is a thought-provoking program that focuses on the rehabilitation, reintegration of inmates, as well as other social justice issues affecting Nigeria. Our primary goal is to stimulate meaningful discussion, create awareness, and inspire positive change. Today's program brings to you a very captivating and interesting topic of interest. And the topic, which we'll be doing justice to, is domestic violence and gender-based violence. And we shall bring to you our guest who is already seated in our studio shortly after this break. Thank you for joining us.
The dream, still begotten. Second chances,
I'm in chains, you're in chains too. I'm in chains, you're in chains too.
Right, seated in our guest today to do justice to the topic of domestic violence and gender-based violence is Mrs. Beatrice Ikira Esquire, who is a legal practitioner. And one will appreciate the fact that being a female, she understands the very topic we are discussing today. Coupled with her vast experience in the social development sector, it's beyond doubt that she is here to do justice. And we will appreciate that in our Nigerian society today, issues of domestic violence are common, or gender-based violence are very common among us. The number keeps on increasing, and there are very disturbing trends. Most disturbing is the fact that people who are victims of this very act most times are very quiet, do not even want to speak about it. Our program today focuses on this issue so that we'll create a needed awareness and then spark that needed conversation around the topic. So, Beatrice, to our listeners who may not be familiar with this term, how can you explain what we mean by domestic violence or gender-based violence?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. It's good to be here to discuss such it's not really an interesting topic because it's painful. It's something that we wish would not happen in the society, but it's happening. So it's good to be here. Gender-based violence simply refers to violence that is directed towards a person because of their gender. That's just the simple and the short definition of what gender-based violence is. It's the violence that is directed towards a particular individual just because of their gender, being a female or a male.
You're right.
That is it.
All right. So it's all encompassing. It's not limited only to the female, men, or the male gender can equally be affected by this.
Yes, all genders can be affected.
All right.
So most of the time when we talk about gender-based violence, people think it's children and women, but it affects every gender.
All right. Thank you very much. And then when one looks at domestic violence,
yeah.
Domestic.
Yeah. Domestic violence, we also call it intimate partner violence.
Okay.
Because it happens within a relationship. It refers to a pattern of behavior where one person in a domestic relationship or in a relationship at all exercises control and power over another. That it happens mostly in a relationship.
relationship.
So it's popularly known as intimate partner violence.
Thank you very much. And what do you think? Why do you think these issues remain pervasive in our society, despite laws and advocacy efforts on the subject?
There are a number of reasons why these issues are still going on, even after so much knowledge has been sent out there about it. But there are a lot of reasons. Some are the deep-rooted societal norms, because we have these harmful gender stereotypes that are there in the society. Most of the time, we don't want to accept it, but it's there. So that's one of the reasons why these things still go on. Then lack of effective implementation of laws that are already there. Okay, first of all, I think the first and one of the most common reason is lack of knowledge. People don't even know that some of the things they do are gender-based violence. Some of the acts they put themselves in, or some of the acts they partake in, are gender-based violence. So that was one of the main reasons. People don't know, lack of knowledge. And then lack of implementation of the laws. And then there are even in some places where you can mention lack of these laws. But in Nigeria, we have a couple of them. So it's basically lack of the implementation of these laws that is affecting us. Lack of persecution of perpetrators. We get perpetrators, people report, we get these perpetrators, and then the next thing they are out there on the street again. So it makes people feel that we can get away with whatever we do. So they keep on doing it, and it continues like that in the society. Then power dynamics is another one. Stigma and silence, because our survivors are not talking. This makes this thing go on and on. Till the survivors learn how to talk, learn how to speak out, it will help to reduce this menace. The limited access to support services. There's a limited access to the kind of support or the kind of services that the survivors need, and then limited knowledge of those services. Some of these services are there in the society, but these survivors don't even know about the existence of such services. So that's one thing that makes this thing go on. And then cultural and religious beliefs. That's one major reason. Cultural and religious beliefs. We feel it's our culture, so it's okay. Let it just keep going on. Let's just keep going on. So those are some of the reasons why it's still ongoing, despite every effort that has been made by both governments, social NGOs, and the rest, but it's still ongoing.
All right. Thank you very much. In fact, your explanation has really been, insightful. When one looks at issues of limited access to support systems, then the issue of stigma and silence. You imagine a situation where someone is raped, and I remember handling a matter where a young baby was raped, and the family was interested in just collecting 15,000 and then letting go the perpetrator of that act.
Yes.
In fact, I was left by the roadside when the
settlement
happened. The settlement happened. So you just imagine the impact on that, on
and
the
then
victim.
the message you're even trying to send out. So how will it stop if I can actually pay 15,000 and go on to rape the next person? How will it stop?
And then you see family interventions on the part of the perpetrators of these acts, it has happened, please just forgive him. So we don't really show people that there are consequences for certain actions.
Exactly.
And then it continues.
Exactly. Most of the time, family members come out to explain the relationship they have with these survivors after the act has been done. You forget this relationship before, or you allow a boy or a man or a perpetrator to go on and commit such an act. But once the act is committed, it's our family, let's settle it at home. It's the family, let's. So you're actually giving that person the go ahead to go on, and even telling people outside that we can actually go on and on to perpetrate this violence, but we can actually settle because we are family, or because we are Nigerians, or because we are Tiv people, Idoma, or whatever tribe. So let's settle it within us.
Thank you very much. And what are the common myths or misconceptions people hold about domestic violence or gender-based violence?
There are a lot of that. Okay. One, people feel that domestic violence, I think I mentioned that earlier, I said domestic violence, some people feel as domestic violence is part of our culture. So let it just keep going. And then others believe that it's private. It's a family matter. Let's settle it among our family. Or even if the violence is going on, like in situations of intimate partner violence, the partners hardly speak out because they feel it's a domestic matter. Let's handle
A
it.
family affair.
It's a family affair. Thank you. Let's handle it within the family. Let's settle it among ourselves. So that's one of the things that have been going on. And then victims provoke the abuse. How on earth will you think that a survivor is the one? That's a narrative that once it comes out, I get weak. Because how a girl is raped and then the first thing you ask, well, what was she wearing? Does that matter?
What was she doing there?
What was she doing there? What took her to the boy's house? Or even like these are crazy ideologies because we need to make people remove these things from their head. Do not blame the victim. Do not blame the survivors for having to bear this kind of pains that they are going through. But once that has gone on for so long, that has really gone on for so long, we keep blaming the victims of this violence.
All right, and apparently, when such happens, it's much easier to suppress other victims who would have spoken
out. Exactly.
You know.
Then there's another belief that it happens to only a particular set of people, such that if a girl is raped, she feel okay, maybe because she was exposing herself too much, or she's in the university, so there's something about university girls that want to go out there to have sex. Not at all. So these are some of the myths that.
Thank you. So, what are the main factors that contribute to domestic violence in families and relationships?
Okay. Domestic violence actually is a complex issue, so you cannot just pinpoint at a particular thing that this is what is causing. It ranges from different aspects of life, and then it differs from one kind of violence to another, from one kind of gender-based violence to another. There are different factors that cause this different forms of violence, both domestic or be it the gender-based violence as a whole. But some are power and control. You know, some people want to have control over the abusers want to have control. So they feel the only way they can have such control is by either abusing or suppressing the other person. Then the other one is societal norms and expectations. There's some form of expectation from a particular gender that you should not speak out even if anything happened. Once you're in a relationship or in a marriage, you're not supposed to complain about your husband, you're not supposed to complain about your wife, you're supposed to just keep it because that's what marriage is all about. These are some of the things. Then unhealthy communication patterns. Unhealthy communication patterns, substance abuse. That's abuse of drugs and other substances is another cause. Then mental health issues closely related to substance abuse. Then past experiences of trauma. I know some people who have been traumatized from young age or who grew up in a bad environment grow up to become perpetrators themselves. Then lack of healthy relationship skills. Then, as we always mention, cultural and social isolation or cultural. These are some of the major causes of.
Thank you very much, listeners. If you're just joining us, this is Radio Maria 93.5 FM, and Voices of Change is the program you have been listening to. And doing justice to that topic is no other person but Mrs. Beatrice Kira Esquire, who is doing justice to the topic domestic violence and gender-based violence. It's a very topical issue of concern to our society. And you have been listening to how break down the concept for you to appreciate better what domestic violence is and what are the factors driving it. You know, you can be part of the program by calling 080-6424-9435. The number to call again is 080-6424-9435. You can send us a text message or WhatsApp on 09164763127. You know, when we are expecting some calls, you know, how does cultural and social attitude play a role in enabling or excusing abuse?
Okay, cultural and societal attitudes can play a very significant role in enabling these violences or these excesses. And then one is by the way we normalize the violence. Societal norms have made it in such a way that we tolerate these violences, we tolerate these vices, we normalize it, we make it seem as if it's normal, it's
All right,
okay.
maybe you just hold your thoughts and okay. We were this call came in but it ended. So you
Okay.
just land
Then
on your
another
thoughts.
is still we still go back to the point of victim blaming. We cannot keep blaming society blames the victim for what they are going through. So that attitude of blame on the victim for the abuse that they've actually encountered. Then for the fact that our society is full of
All right, let's
but-
just
okay.
hello. Yes, afternoon. Can you tell us your name and where you're calling us from? All right. So, what's your contribution or observation? All right. Okay. All right. Thank you for your contribution. In fact, you are still taking us to the issue she emphasized. So the fact that the lady has visited you, does it really translate to her giving consent to sexual intercourse? Maybe just a question to ponder upon. Exactly. So okay, thank you very much for calling. Okay. All right. The message we are passing across is that we should be responsible citizens.
Exactly.
We should be responsible in our conduct.
And in our
So there is no
actions.
justification.
There isn't.
For you to rape anyone on the basis of what the person is wearing. There is no justification for that. In as much as indecent dressing
Yes.
shouldn't be encouraged, there is no justification for
Exactly.
committing a crime on the basis that you were kind of influenced or motivated by the person's physical appearance.
Most of the time in my engagement with men on this particular topic, they tend to feel we are encouraging either young girls to dress anyhow or young girls to move about anyhow or even women
All
to
right, we
disrespect.
still have another call.
Okay.
Hello. Hello and good evening. Hello. Yes, good evening. Who are we talking with? Yes, and where are you calling us from? All right. It seems the network around your area is breaking or not. We're not hearing you well. Yes, okay, we can hear you now. Okay. Yes, go on. Sorry? All right, the topic we are having today is domestic violence and gender based violence. That's the topic we are having today. All right, maybe you try to change your location and call us back because we're not really getting you well, please. Thank you. Hello. Hello, and good evening. All right. So, what's your contribution or question? All right. Okay. Okay. Mm. Hello, are you still there? Sorry,
We
we
lost
lost.
that. I
Okay.
want her
Yes.
to, if she's listening, I want her to know that she's not a victim. She's a survivor.
All right. So you see, that's a very smart term to use. All right. We still have another call. Hello. Yeah. Good after. Yes. Good evening, sir. All right. What's your contribution or question? Mm. Yes. Mm. Yes. 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 Mm. Yes. Mm. Thank you. Mm. Mm. Eh, eh, eh. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, confidence. Just like your name, we are confident in what you are saying.
Very good.
We
Very
really
good.
appreciate you. All right. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Yes. Can you tell us your name and where you're calling us from? All right. You called earlier. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So the speaker in studio was telling you that you are not a victim but a survivor. Yes. Yes.
telling the story. Exactly.
Yes. Mm. Mm. Yes, I'm with you. We are with you. Right. Maybe, mm,
Um, I think we need to.
all
Madam,
right, all right. We do not really have all the time in the world. Would have loved to listen to your
yeah,
story.
and for your own protection too, for the
Yes. So, right. We just have to politely end the call so that for her own
for
protection
her own
and some
protection.
other
Yes,
issues.
confidentiality of survivors
Exactly,
is very
exactly,
important
exactly. So
to
that
handling gender-based violence cases.
exactly. All right.
So I
So
think she was
yes,
given so much
yes.
information, and but I want to advise that she should she should still talk to someone.
Mm,
Okay, she was mentioning social welfare. Maybe she has lost her trust in them because of one reason or the other. But there is FIDA. There's
yes.
Federation of Female Lawyers. You can reach out to any female lawyer you know in town, and the person will actually connect you to who to talk to. Please don't keep quiet. Just because we didn't want to hear the whole story on radio doesn't mean we can't listen to it one on one. Please.
All right. Thank you. So, Kate, you have options available to you. Just meet any female lawyer around you, and then your matter will be handled. Hello and good evening. Yes. Can we get to know you and where you are calling us from? All right. All right. That's a spiritual dimension to the problem. Hmm. Hmm. Thank you very much.
From her discussion, I want to bring out something quickly.
Yes.
You know, most of the time when we talk about this GBV, gender-based violence, people, the first thing that comes to our mind is the physical aspect of it.
Yes.
But you know that the psychological part of it is as bad. The psychological and emotional part of it is as
Yes.
bad as what is done on the physical.
Hmm.
Yes. So,
All right. So, in what ways do you think economic dependence increase vulnerability to abuse?
Okay, it does in a number of ways, like limited financial resources. You know, once as a person, if you're limited in what you can provide for yourself, if you have limitations as to what you can provide for yourself, you depend on someone.
Yes.
So this that someone may be your abuser, and then the abuse will continue.
All right.
So that's one of it. Then fear of financial instability. Most people remain or even know that there's an abuse there but go into it just because of fear of their financial instability. What if I become broke today? What will happen? If I leave this man today and then I don't have money, I don't have a job, I don't have salary, I don't have a means of income, what happens to me? So, and then lack of economic improvement. The economy is not improving. The world is becoming difficult by the day. So most people depend on their abusers, unfortunately, but that's the reality of it.
Right. So, what are the short-term and long-term effects of domestic violence on survivors, especially children who witness it?
Okay, some of this, some of the long term. Where do we start from? Short term or long term? Let's start from short term.
All right.
Short term, you talk about things come to mind like the emotional state the person is, the emotional state the survival is in at that particular point in time. It traumatizes the person, and then there's even physical. Some are physical injuries that you can
Yes.
see on the body, and sometimes gender-based violence goes up to the extent that the person becomes so traumatized and then runs mad. Yes, people become insane as a result of the kind of violence that they faced
Yes.
at one point or the other.
Yes. And then the long-term effect
Long
on the
term,
survivors. You know, this gospel singer, this well-renowned gospel singer that died.
that's the
from-
long term effect. Death.
You know.
The insanity I even spoke about is a long term effect.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
death.
You know, and then you imagine the kids of this great voice coming to court to testify against their
Against their
father.
own father.
And then you imagine, you know, we grew up in a society where people confidently will tell you that if you only knew, a man telling the wife, if you only knew how my father used to beat my mom,
Exactly.
you have not received half of that.
Half of, yeah.
You know, so you need to be very, you know, so people can begin to accept, you know, certain abnormality as though they are normal because I've observed it for a period of time, or they have seen it done around them.
And then they just take it that it's a norm.
It's a normal thing,
Yeah,
you know.
So it can keep going on and on.
The likelihood of a boy that grows up seeing his father beat the mom, and then that same boy, as a man who is married, doing the same thing to the wife is there. You know, so these things have long-term effects on the people who witness the children,
The
who
children.
who
The
witness
children.
it.
Most boys that grow up in abusive relationship tend to feel that is the normal thing. That's how a woman is supposed to be treated. And when they grow up, that's the kind of father they will become. They will become fathers that feel if my mom was beat. If the boy can say my mom was beating for this long and she stayed, he cannot think of the fact that a woman will want to leave just because I'm beating her.
Yes.
He will feel that's a norm. That's how it's supposed to be. So why are you complaining? So that's one of the long-term effects. It really affects children growing up in such environments. And then children talk these days. Sometimes they even go to school and talk about these things that are happening. So at the end of the day, you hear a classmate referring to another classmate's parents as a wife beater, or different kind of names are given to such parents, and it affects the children negatively too. So, and then the longest term effect is the death. Yes, the death. It can lead to death. So it's better to speak out when these things happen, or even walk away.
All right.
Yes.
In your earlier answer, you had answered this, but I just want for emphasis, you know, what legal protection currently exists for victims or survivors of domestic and gender-based violence in our country?
Okay. The first legal protection we have as Nigerians is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended.
Yes.
You know that a whole chapter is dedicated to fundamental rights of persons.
Yes.
And under these rights, we have the right to life, right to human dignity, right to liberty, right to association, right to freedom of association, and all that.
Yes.
So that's the first thing we have to hold on to in order to preach the gospel of gender-based violence, in order
Yes.
to tell people that yes, it's not just what we are saying with lips of our with our mouth, but it's what the Constitution has given you. It's your right. You don't have no one has the right to actually beat you or to take your life or to do anything like that against you. And then secondly, we have a law that has come to stay, and we're really thankful. We gender advocates, human rights activists, we are thankful for this law, and we are very grateful when it was implemented, when it was domesticated, even in Benue State, which is the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, and then domesticated in Benue as the law.
Yes.
This is the one we really hold on to because it mentions this violence specifically.
Yes.
So it has given us the authority to hold on to it and to be able to charge people to court, to prosecute people based on this violence. And for children, we also have the Child Right Act.
Yes.
The Child Right Act protects children, and I think that's all. That's about it.
Thank you so much for our listeners who are just joining us. This is Voices of Change. Voices of Change is a program sponsored by Molanic Capacity Building Initiative. It's a program that speaks to very topical issues of interest, bordering on rehabilitation, reformation, and then social justice issues in our Nigerian society. Today, we are talking about domestic violence and gender-based violence. And for the Benue person who is listening to us, there is a law in Benue State, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law 2019. So there are copious provisions in those laws that are aimed at protecting and a kind of prohibiting act that foster or encourage violence against any person across, whether gender-based or not. So when one talks about these issues, just like you rightly observe, it's not just about the women, about the children, about the men who are equally involved. We may have situations of verbal abuse.
Yes.
At homes where there is much of nagging and then, emotional torture. Words have very powerful meaning. So it's not just about the physical assault
No, it's not.
that one looks
It's
at.
not.
It may come with emotional torture to the individual. Such words like calling someone a winch,
Yes.
calling
Prostitute.
someone a prostitute, stuff like that when they are not true. It has a way of affecting the individual who is involved. So we should appreciate that fact. So are there gaps or challenges in enforcing these laws?
Yes. Like I said earlier, we have these laws.
Yes.
As beautiful as they are and as grateful as we are that we have these laws, one of the major problem we have is the implementation of these laws. The laws are not as implemented in the states as we wish them to be. So that's one of the major problems that we have, and we call on all stakeholders to do their best so that we can see that this law is fully implemented in Benue State across the states. And then another is the lack of awareness of these laws. I've had to work in rural areas where I go to some security agencies and they don't know about the VAP law. They don't know that such a thing exists. They don't know about the Child Right Act. So sensitizations have to keep going on to everybody,
Yes.
not just lawyers, not just the people, not just heads of courts, to security agencies, to different security outfits that are in existence today. They have to know about the existence of this law. Speaking about weak implementation, then cultural and societal barriers. That as good as beautiful as the laws are, most of the time they're not implemented in some places because of our cultural beliefs. Because there are some traditional rulers that will tell you that keep that VAP thing aside. Let's talk. This is our culture. Let's talk about it. That's what we're talking about. So we have to do away with such harmful traditional practices that promotes this violence, and then face the laws that we have so that they'll be well implemented in the states.
All right, thank you, listeners. If you have just joining us, this is Radio Maria 93.5 FM, and reaching your airways today is Voices of Change. And I am your anchor, Martin Timothy, your radio lawyer. And doing justice to the topic for the day is Mrs. Beatrice Aikira Esquire. And you have been listening to very insightful things. And if you are a perpetrator of violence, across gender, you should be mindful of the fact that the law is there and it will soon catch up with you if you do not desist from that. And you must appreciate the fact that the child you have under your care and control is protected by the law. In fact, you have situations where some parents begin to feel that they do, more of doing a favor to their own kids, sponsoring them in school. So they may even refuse to pay your school fees when they feel you err or you do what is not acceptable by them. So it is the right of that
These are
child
rights,
to
yeah, these are rights
education.
provided for under the Child's
Exactly.
Rights Act. Yeah, the child has a right to education.
Exactly. So it's the right of a child. It's not a privilege,
It's not.
as a parent, for you to do that to your own children. So
So
we should be
and then
mindful of that. Too.
Closely linked to the challenges I mentioned earlier is the fact that challenges in accessing the justice system in Nigeria.
Yes.
That's one basic issue we are having. Like most of the survivors cannot afford the justice system in Nigeria. Sometimes because of distance or cost or different aspects of it.
All right. Maybe you continue on that when we come back from this break.
Well done, sir. Too loud. You can reduce from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome back, our esteemed listeners. You have been listening to Voices of Change, and the topic for today is domestic violence and gender-based violence. And you have been listening to the voice of Mrs. Beatrice Ikira Esquire, who is a legal practitioner, and she's doing justice to that topic. I appreciate the fact that she has been neutral on the subject, notwithstanding the fact that she is a woman. So the conversation around the issue of gender equality and stuff like that are not limited to women. Men too are inclusive. But it's very instructive that men begin to appreciate the fact that women have rights. Women are equally human beings that should be treated as human beings, not as second-class set of people who should only be submissive at all times without even seeking to know why. That should be the case. So,
It's
what?
important to know that a woman is also a human being.
Very well.
I think that's the message I always would like to put out there. Know that a woman or a child is also a human being,
Yes.
and then treat them.
Now,
as
let me
such.
ask this very important question. If someone is experiencing abuse, what practical steps should that person take immediately to protect his or herself?
The first step when you are experiencing abuse is to speak out.
Yes.
Because as long as you remain silent, speak out. You will never get the help you need. So please speak out. And then recently, before I used to say speak out, but recently I added a very important word to that. Speak a word or a phrase. Speak out to the right persons.
All right.
Because I was in a church recently, and unfortunately, it was even. Unfortunately, I don't know. It was a Catholic church. That you feel that this is a place where. Then the preacher went on saying, "Okay, a couple was celebrating so many years of marriage," and then the speaker went on and applauding them. This was 50 years or so. Applauding them for being 50 years, for having stayed through 50 years. And then he went on to remind the woman of how maybe those days a man can just come back home. The woman made him angry, and then the man will just slap the woman. The woman will go cry, clean her face, go to the kitchen, cook food, come and serve the husband on bended knees. And then at night when he sleeps, he'll still tell her, turn around, and then she'll fulfill all her marital duties. And then in my mind, I was like, what? Are we standing at the pulpit now and even encouraging gender-based violence? In no form, in no way at all should we encourage someone to actually just give like a slap to a woman and then expect that she will go on to cry, clean her face. That is wrong in every ramification of it. So imagine if a survivor goes to this particular person to complain that my husband beats me. What will be the response? The response may be that is it just a slap? Or what did he do that is so big that our mothers were not enduring? Why can't you endure same? So it's very important to speak out to the right person. Please, if you're within Makodi and you're experiencing any form of gender-based violence, we have the Sexual Assault Referral Center at the Benue State University Teaching Hospital. We have the Federation of Female Lawyers. We have different organizations, NGOs. We have a faith-based organization like the Foundation for Justice, Development and Peace doing a very wonderful job. We have Ministry of Women Affairs. These are trained professionals that when you talk to them, they know what to tell you. They know where to refer you to. Then referral system, they know the referral pathway to use in order to give you the help that you need. Because different forms brings different help. Because it's not the same kind of assistance I will give to someone who has been raped, and then I'll turn around and give the same form of assistance to someone who has been emotionally abused. They are different. So we should actually learn to speak out to the right persons.
Now, speaking out to the right
Speaking out to
person
the right
now
persons.
takes me to the next question. How can friends, neighbors, and communities help someone they suspect is in an abusive situation?
Okay. The family, friends, neighbors, associates, co-workers, we have a very big role to play. And the first and the very most important one is do not judge. You know, at the point where we start judging, that's the point where we make everyone not to be able to talk. Don't judge. As a neighbor, as a friend, as an associate, don't judge the person. And then listen.
Yes.
Listen. Just give the person a listening ear and the person will be able to speak out. But if you sit with the person all the time and maybe almost someone is going through a form of violence, either at home or from somebody else, and then you sit to the person all the time and then you're talking about people who dress anyhow or people who move around anyhow and then they are raped, and then there's some kind of conversations that you have around people that will warrant them never to be able to talk to you.
Yes.
So let's know the kind of conversations we have around such people. Encourage them to speak out. And when they speak out, don't keep it to yourself. Make sure you help them get the kind of assistance that they need in such a situation. Do not keep it to yourself. As a friend, as a neighbor, help the person get the assistance they need, and then do not judge before. Link the person to the services if you know of any, and then encourage the person. Encourage whoever it is that is going through any form of abuse. So it's very good to give a listening ears to those who are going through different forms.
So what role do schools, religious institutions, and community organizations play in changing the attitude? You know, we have an attitude problem.
Yes, yeah, we do.
You know, so what role do you think schools, religious institutions, and community organizations play in changing this attitude?
The key word is sensitization. Sensitization, awareness creation. It can never be overemphasized when it comes to gender-based violence. The schools need to keep telling children from the tender age that this is my private part. Don't allow anyone touch it. These schools need to hammer these things in their mind. That there was a day my son told me that even his lip is his private part.
Okay.
So it was straight, but that was what he was told in school because some abusers start from there. They start from the lip. They kiss the lip, and then before you know, they go down to the other parts of the body. So you need to make children, don't hide it from them. Children these days are very smart. So once you tell them these things and you know that they can either confide in you, because sometimes the abuse comes from the home.
Yes.
So the teachers in school should know that they can confide in them. So when you come to school, make the children feel at home in school so that they'll be able to know, first of all, know what gender-based violence is, know what abuses are, so that they'll be able to report when such happens. And then the religious really need to help in this. Because we Nigerians, we are religious. We listen to those who stand at the altar a lot. And whatever they say there, we take it hook, line, and sinker. So please, the religious need to play a very big role in awareness creation of what gender-based violence is.
Thank you very, very much. This question is very dear to men. How can we engage men and boys in challenging harmful norms and behavior that perpetrate violence?
I was impressed with one of your callers today
Yes.
when he called and spoke about how this thing should not be excused under any guise.
Yes.
We go out there, we see mad women on the street. How many of them are raped?
Mm.
You go to where there are beaches, you see people wearing their bikinis. How many of them are raped?
Yes.
And then you go to northern states where people are covered with hijab and they are raped.
Yes.
You see a child in a diaper and the child is raped.
Yes.
So tell me, where is indecent dressing coming on there?
In fact,
It does not connect
well,
at all.
2 days ago, I watched a video of a man who was caught. In fact, he was reported by his son
By his son
for
rape-
sleeping with his own
daughters.
daughters
I saw
to
that.
the knowledge of the
I
wife.
saw that video.
Right? So there is no justification for this is your blood. So if the problem is not with the mindset,
Then what is this?
then what is the problem?
Because these are children you watch grow,
Yes.
and then your own children.
Yes.
And you decided that of everything, of everybody in this world. And then this is another problem we have again, that gender-based violence keep going on, for the fact that we hide perpetrators.
Yes.
We feel we love them too much to report them. But let me tell you, you are doing them harm rather than good.
Good.
Because if you report someone, the person, some of these things are psychological, or they need help. But just because you're hiding the person, you're shielding the person is not going to get the help the person needs. So back to your question. Okay, we need men to actually come up and speak for us. We have groups. We have he for she,
Which I'm a member too.
which, oh, good.
Yeah.
So we have he for she. People are speaking out for gender-based violence.
Yes.
There's a program we're doing. It was MAP, I think, engaging men in accountable practices.
Yes.
This program was very interesting because it was like a set of meetings. So we had like 10 or a number of meetings with different men. And it was in these meetings that some men even knew that some things they do are actually GBV. Some didn't know.
Yes.
So men have to get involved. And then we have to keep training children right from young age, especially the male child, on how to be empathetic or sympathetic towards the other gender. That will help a lot. That will help.
Thank you very much. Just the last question before
Okay.
we call it a quit for today. What message would you like to leave with our dear listeners today about the fight against domestic and gender-based violence?
The message I would like to leave today is, if you are going through any form of domestic or gender-based violence, please speak out. If you know anyone that's going through that any form of domestic or gender-based violence, do not criticize the person, do not mock the person, but please help the person get the desired services or assistance the person needs.
Thank you very much for making to the program today, Mrs. Beatrice Ayikira Esquire, who has done justice to the topic. And listeners, this is where we draw the curtains on today's program. We especially appreciate you for listening. We invite you to join us next week, Thursday, same station, same time, for Voices of Change. Keep listening to Radio Maria 93.5. I am Amatim and Timothy Esquire, your radio lawyer. Thank you for joining us.
Second chances, hope renewed.
Well done,
Revealing
sir.
Thank
lives,
you.